Hello guys, welcome back. So today I'm going to tell you a story of one of my learner who was with me when I was teaching at Times of India. So he started his startup and I think he ran it for about 2 3 years and then he thought of closing it. Reason I think he never told me about the reason, but what I got to know from him is that he doesn't want to do this startup right now. He wants to go back to the industry as an employee and uh, gain some more knowledge. Then probably in the later phase, he might go and start up, do the startup again. So he asked me a question that now, as I have to go and look for a job, then I'm not sure what should I put in my resume or what people would be looking for into my resume. And I said, all right. Then he says, then I just asked him what kind of work you've done in the past. So he said, as being a CEO, I think I've done everything. I did the sales, marketing, the BD, the purchasing, and he was part of really everything. So typically, whatever a startup founder does, he has done everything. So now he's saying, I have to go back and start hunting for a job. And I'm sure there would be many people like him, those who might have started something earlier. And due to any reason, it could be financial reason, it could be personal reasons, or it could be economical reasons. There will be hundreds of reasons which might put you back onto the another side of the job, where you might be expected to go and join an organization as an employee and do it. So I'll tell you, it is certainly a very challenging phase in somebody's life because being a founder was once upon a time and now getting into an employee role is a two different mindset game. But anyways, life is a life, it has to go on. Right? So in that case, he asked me a couple of questions. Let me take you through that questions one by one. So he says, I'm an ex-founder and currently in the process of applying for job roles, especially in the founder's office, strategy, sales, BD. I built startup from the scratch, handle everything end to end, sourcing, product, supply chain, pricing, sales, even offline conversions. Basically did everything what it takes for a founder to do. Now it says, now I'm trying to translate that into a CV, curriculum and I'm a bit confused about what actually matters to recruiters versus what just sounds like founders fluff. Right? Now he says he has done many things, right? So now here I've got a couple of things to probe, ask, and I want you to think about it. Like number one, which I say is when you're running a startup, what was the level of startup you have done? I mean, when I'm talking about level of startup, I'm really talking about what kind of revenues you've done in the past. Reason being, because when you want to apply for a job and in your resume you show that you are a startup founder, right? Now people are going to look at resume that if you when you did a startup, what kind of startup you did? What was the level of engagements you brought into your company, right? What was the revenue realization you had, right? Because based on that, they will try to see where you fit in, right? So that is the level. So if you're very basic, you have not really cracked anything great, then probably people might try to consider you as a very a founder, but with some okay kind of stuff, right? So I think it really matters when you quit your startup, what is that revenue you have realized, you have made it, right? The client number or the client kind of clients you worked with, all those things matter a lot because based on that, they will do your selection process. That is the one thing. Secondly, they are going to ask you why you closed your startup, what went wrong, what made you to take that very tough decision. Because see, we are going to apply for a job with any startup. Whomsoever is the hiring manager, it could be a manager who is just going to hire somebody in his team in the marketing department or in the sales department, or maybe probably if you're a founder, your interview might be taken through by a very senior folk in the company. And they would be having one common question on in their mind: what went wrong with your startup? Right? So when they ask you this question, they're actually trying to assess your toughness level, what you learned from that mistake, and they're trying to see whether whatever you've learned from that mistake, how those mistakes are going to help his company when he's going to hire you. Right? So that is where they're trying to look, they're trying to find that kind of value proposition from you, from your startup activity, whatever you've done in the past. Right? So it has to be really thought through, given, and you have to really clearly mention what is it all you could do for his company. And it could be as simple as that if you were very great in marketing, you did a great, amazing marketing strategies, you did marketing campaigns, because that you were able to do a great customer acquisition, but maybe your business model was not that great. Because of that, your startup failed. So in that case, it becomes quite important. You have to really help him understand the value what you're trying to bring him as a startup founder. Okay, so you have to give the answer why you close your startup. So that has to very carefully you have to think about it and give the reasons. Right? And also, when you are giving the reason for closing a startup, so they also try to look at your mental toughness level as well. So do not cite any reason which can backfire you as a potential candidate opportunity. It means do not talk about your negative stuff. I mean, they might get to know about it apparently, but I think on the face, I recommend do not go very candid and tell them anything which you feel, because your failure, whatever was the reason, if it has failed you in your startup, right, and you admit it and you have not done any significant changes to improve it, there could be a possibility the same things might get transpired back on his business, which nobody wants it, isn't it? So think about it. Then other question I want to ask you, why you want to transition from being a startup founder to being an employee, right? So here again, it is important that you have to really go and talk about the core reason what made you to think. So it could be, as I said, right? It could be maybe you had a tussle with one of your partners. Because of that, it collapsed, you lost money, and there's nothing for you to go. So you say this, see, this all thing happened because of that. I want to quit and start again. But for me to start something, I had no funds. But so this is time I want to is invest in learning new skills and accumulate some funds, ideas, and move on. Right? But I'm not sure if this is going to be a great answer, but think something which can be really very convincing. So now question comes in what you should put on your resume, right? So when I look at it from that perspective, so as a founder, if I have to hire any ex-founder, I would be very clearly looking at two things. One, what all technical skills you carry. For example, no, you might be very great in coding, you might be very great in making a website, you might be very great in Google Ads, right, or lead generation. So those skill sets are very prime things I'd be looking at, because based on that skill set, I will try to put you under a certain department, right? So skill sets, the technical skills, what you say. Along with that, if your if your age is somewhere in 30s and onwards, then along with the technical skills, I would also like to see your soft skills as well, which basically talks about, because I won't be able to put you a very senior folk into a junior role, or maybe a mid junior role, because it won't suit you, and it won't be a very motivating environment into an organization. Then probably I will try to put you somewhere which wherein you are able to lead a team of people. So in that case, your technical skills and your soft skills, maybe it could be leadership skills or communication skills, they are going to help me to put you across on that one. So technical plus soft skills are really going to be again very important. Along these two things are not sufficient because when I'm trying to hire you as a startup founder, I also want somebody who could have a vision as well. So that is where the strategy comes very handy. I'd be very happy to look at or talk about what all different strategies you have implemented in your business model. Failed or success doesn't really matter, but looking when we talk about your no when we discuss about your strategies, whatever kind of responses you give, it is going to help us understand that where do you stand, what is your thought process, how you look at the business, from what perspective, what angle, right? So those will help me to look at you as a possible suitable candidate for us being into my senior or I could say mid senior level positions, because you being a founder, so we look at the technical skills, soft skills, and the strategical level skills what you've acquired during that stint of the job, right? So to summarize everything, a resume of yours should be actually focusing the values or the things which can bring change to somebody's your employer's company, right? The tangible values which can be measured are important part. Secondly, as I said, the skills, the soft skills and leadership skills and the strategical level of information is also very much required. And thirdly is the mindset, which is the most important. The one major problem which I could see is somebody who has been a founder, because you being a founder, you have been living in your own state of mind. You are the boss. There was nobody question. Nobody want to, you were not responsible to answer anyone. But now when you go and become an employee, things change completely, right? You might be required to give answers. You might have to give reasons. You might have to give justification about the thoughts or ideas why you've chosen certain idea, right? You might be required to attend meetings. There are multiple things which you might go. So probably you have to just make your mindset ready to become an employee. All right. So I think this is what I can summarize to for you, and you start implementing in your resume, and do let me know how does it goes. If you got any other specific questions, I will be able to help you answer you. You can post into the email me. Actually, you can email me with the given email ID which is below, and I should be able to answer you in the similar kind of forum. All right. So thank you so much. Enjoy your time.